Hello and welcome back to the Air Armoury. I'm JRH and today I'm looking at the Hatsan AT44-10 PCP Air Rifle. Hatsan AT44-10. Now I've used this rifle in quite a few other Air Armoury videos so far, but until now I hadn't actually got around to making a video on it. Now I'll go into much more detail about the rifle in a minute, but in short this is a 10-shot side lever PCP rifle. Now it's made by Hatsan, which I'm sure you're all familiar with, but if not, Hatsan are a Turkish airgun and shotgun manufacturer formed in 1976. And in the UK, Hatsan products are imported and distributed by Edgar Brothers. Now, let's take a closer look at the rifle on the bench. As with my video on the SMK QB78 Deluxe, this isn't actually an unboxing video, but as I still have the box, I thought I'd get it out for the video. Here you can see the rifle. The rifle is 39.4 inches or 1 metre long and weighs 7.3 pounds or 3.4 kilograms, and that is the weight and length of just the rifle. In my normal setup with this scope and with a sound suppressor, it is another 7 inches or 18 centimetres long and weighs just over 1.5 pounds or 700 grams more. Now it's got a really nice stock, both in terms of look and feel. It's very comfortable to hold and it's made of Turkish walnut, which is a standard stock for it. It's not like with some other manufacturers where you need to pay more for a walnut stock option. It has a Monte Carlo raised cheek piece, and this is an ambidextrous stock. As you can see, that cheek piece is actually on both sides. It also has some machine cut checkering on the grip, although as much as it looks nice, if I'm honest, I think that doesn't really add too much grip. At the rear of the stock there is an adjustable rubber butt pad, and to adjust that you use the Allen key that comes with the gun to loosen that, which allows this to slide up and down, and because that slides over a curved surface, the angle is also altered slightly for comfort, which is a really nice touch. I've titled this video as the generic AT44-10, but this model is actually the AT44-W10, the W standing for wood, but you could also get a synthetic stock version, which I believe is the AT44-S10, or it may even be just the AT44-10, I'm not sure. And the synthetic stock model is also available in a thumbhole version, which you can see here from the front of the instruction manual. As far as I'm aware though, the wood version wasn't available with a thumbhole stock, and you can also now actually get a tactical version, which is the AT44-10 Tact, which has a synthetic stock with a pistol grip, extendable buttstock and a couple of accessory rails. Pretty much all the metal on the gun is blued steel, so things like the barrel and the air cylinder, and then it has a black anodized receiver here. It has a 19.4 inch rifled barrel, which, as I've already said, is blued steel, and that is held in place with these two plastic barrel bands. At the end of the barrel, if I unscrew this end cap, you can see that it has a standard 1/2 inch UNF thread for a suppressor, and this cap does come with the rifle to protect the thread when a suppressor isn't fitted. Whilst I'm on the subject of suppressors, I do have one for this rifle, which you saw briefly earlier. Obviously the gun isn't as loud as an actual firearm or anything, but it is definitely far louder than a spring or CO2 gun, so I do generally use the suppressor for back garden plinking. And I do have some video of firing the gun suppressed compared to unsuppressed, which I'll show you in a second, although I should point out that the difference in noise is not accurately reflected in the video. In person, shooting unsuppressed is much louder. In terms of calibre, this rifle is in 177, but you can also get it in 22 and 25. As I've already said, it is a PCP, or pre-charged pneumatic gun, so it can be filled from a scuba tank or a pump. It has a 180cc air cylinder with a maximum fill of 200 bar. It has a nice rotating ring at the end here which covers the air port. So to fill the gun, you rotate the ring to reveal the air port. Then you insert the quick fill nozzle which comes with the gun. You then fill it up from the tank or the pump, remove the nozzle, and then close the port again. It does have an inbuilt pressure gauge at the end of the cylinder, so you can keep an eye on your charge. And the air cylinder is removable, and you can buy spares, so you could keep 2 or more full to swap them over rather than having to lug a tank or pump out into the field with you. The Hatsan literature here says that from a full cylinder of air you're supposed to get 50 effective shots in 177, or 90 until the cylinder is empty, 50 effective shots in 22, or 80 until the cylinder is empty, and 40 effective shots in 25, or 60 until the cylinder is empty. As I've already said, my rifle here is in 177. I think you can actually get more like 60 to 70 full power shots. And in terms of emptying the cylinder, just for plinking, I can squeeze out a few more than what they say, as long as I compensate for pellet drop as the pressure reduces, in which case I can get up to around 100. And the gun also comes with this discharging cap for releasing the air from the cylinder should you need to. Now I should state that I've actually recently had a problem with this air cylinder in that it started leaking a significant amount of air. Now I did manage to fix the problem myself without spending much money, so it's working fine again now. But from what I've read, this isn't an uncommon problem with this gun, especially when you fill it with a pump rather than a tank. And when I fixed it, I did actually make a video on how to find and fix an air leak on a PCP gun, so that will actually be uploaded soon. I might even put it up as the next video. The rifle is cocked and cycled using this side lever here. Now that lever is comfortable to use, it cycles the gun well and looks very neat on the side. Whilst there are a number of rifles out there with side levers like this and the Air Arms S500 series, most PCPs of this kind tend to be bolt action. As I've already said, this is a multi-shot rifle and it uses these 10-shot rotary magazines, hence the name AT44-10, although I should actually say that the 10-shot magazine is for the 177 and 22 versions, as the 25 version only has a 9-shot magazine. Now it's a nice simple magazine with no moving parts. The pellets are held in with this thick rubber band, black rubber band around the outside. So when you're loading the magazine, you need to push the pellets in and make sure they are seated properly so that the rubber band around the outside sits between the skirt and the tip of the pellet. So you just need to push it past that bit of the band. And because of that, domed and pointed pellets by far work the best in these magazines. It takes a tiny bit longer to load them if you're using flat tipped pellets, as that flat edge sometimes needs a bit of persuading to squeeze it in place past that rubber ring. The rifle comes with 2 magazines, but I have since bought another couple of spares myself. The additional spare magazines cost around £15 each, which isn't bad as far as prices for spare PCP magazines go. And whilst I haven't tested them, I've read that these are the exact same magazines as the Webley Raider 10 uses. So once you've loaded your magazine, I've got a fully loaded one here, to load it you need to cock the side lever, and then you pull back on this small brass catch and lock that up. This basically is attached to a small spring-loaded pin, as you can see there, which goes through the centre of the magazine to lock it in place. You can then put your magazine in. There's only one way it can go in, so you can't do it wrong. Release the catch, which holds it in, and then close the side lever, and by doing that it pushes the probe forward, which loads a pellet into the breech. So if I now fire that just off screen, you can see that if I cock it again using the side lever, that automatically indexes the magazine. Can you just see that? Which lines another one up, and then again close the lever to push the probe forward and load the pellet. The magazine indexes well, and I've never had any real issues with it. The only problem I've had a couple of times is when I first put the magazine in, I've tried to push the side lever forward when the magazine hasn't been lined up quite right, and I've kind of got a pellet half stuck in the magazine, half in the breech. It hasn't happened many times and it's easy enough to sort out. It's just a small issue that I have had every now and again. The rifle features an anti-double feed system to prevent more than one pellet being loaded at a time. As you saw, I just cocked the gun, but I haven't fired it. So if I try and cock it again, it doesn't index the magazine, so I can't accidentally load a second pellet in. I'm just going to fire that again off screen to make the gun safe. Because the gun is designed to take a magazine, if I remove the magazine, you can see that it would be difficult, albeit not impossible, to individually load single pellets. So if you're shooting in HFT or something, you'd need to rely on loading one pellet into the magazine and then turning the magazine to manually index it so that the pellet is lined up. However, as well as the AT44-10, you can also get a standard AT44, which is the same rifle but a single shot version. The rifle has a safety at the back here, which is really nicely positioned for your thumb. It is a automatic and manual safety, so when I cock the gun, the safety automatically engages, but when I disengage it, I can then manually set it to safe again. When the safety is pulled out like this, it is safe, and when it is pushed forward with this red mark visible, it's ready to fire. And when the safety is on, you can't pull the trigger. The AT44 series of rifles have Hatsan's Quattro trigger unit. It is a two-stage match trigger, which is adjustable for pull weight of both the first and second stages of trigger pull, as well as adjustable for trigger travel length. It's quite a good trigger, I really like it, and whilst I have adjusted mine slightly, it's even pretty good straight out of the box. In terms of sights, on top of the receiver or the breech block here, it has dovetail scope rails, both 11mm and 22mm mounts, and under here it also has a hole cut into the top of the breech block to accommodate mounts with a stop screw to prevent the scope from moving. I've currently got a Nikko Stirling 3-9x40 Mountmaster scope fitted, which I have done a review on, so I'll put a link to that in the description below in case you're interested. I'm now going to test the accuracy of the rifle. I'm going to be firing 10 pellets at one of these 14cm square targets over a distance of around 11 or 12 metres, and to do that I'll be using 8.4 grain Air Arms Diablo field pellets. I have just put the suppressor on so I don't disturb the neighbours. Here I have my target. Now I'm pretty happy with that accuracy, all 10 shots within the bullseye. That was actually though the second time I did the accuracy test for this video, as when I did it the first time I found the scope wasn't zeroed properly. But as you can see from the target from my first test, the grouping is actually even tighter. Therefore I think it's fair to say this is actually a very accurate rifle. So there you've seen the accuracy using the scope. But one of the things I love about this gun is that you're not actually limited to using a scope. As you can see here, you can also get open sights for it, which is a very rare thing to find on a PCP rifle. In fact, Hatsan offer open sights, at least as an optional extra on I think most, if not all, of their air guns, which is actually one of the reasons that I bought a Hatsan when I got this as my first PCP rifle. The gun didn't come with the open sights fitted though, so I rang the UK distributor Edgar Brothers to inquire about getting some open sights for it. They told me that they don't actually import any of their guns with open sights fitted, but they do import the sights separately as spare parts. You can't purchase them directly from Edgar Brothers, but they gave me the part numbers, so I then ordered them through one of my local gun shops, which is a Hatsan dealer. And if you're interested in doing the same, I'll put the part numbers in the description below. The sights themselves are True Glow fibre optic sights. The rear sight here, as you can see, has two green fibre optic bars. It's adjustable for windage and elevation, both of which have got decent, easy to use dials. Now the sight just fixes on to the receiver with two small screws. The only issue though is that with the screw and the spring and everything for the adjustment inside, it means that you can't actually lower the sight all the way down so it's completely horizontal. I don't know how well you can see that. The front sight just slides over the end of the barrel and is then fixed in with a grub screw on the top. Now this red fibre optic bar is actually adjustable, which is quite rare for an airgun front sight. It can be adjusted for elevation using this dial on the side here. And that's actually really useful, as over the short distances that I'm normally shooting, the gun shoots far too high, even with the rear sight down as far as it goes, so that can be compensated for by raising the front sight. Despite the fair bit of plastic on the sights, they're actually quite good quality. The fibre optic picks up light really well, and they're easily adjustable with a good level of adjustment. The sight picture isn't the clearest I've ever used, but it's not bad, it's certainly usable. So I'm now going to test the accuracy of the open sights. I'll put a fresh target on, and then I will again fire 10 of these Air Arms Diablo field pellets at the same distance of just over 10 metres. Here I have my target from the open sights accuracy test. As expected, it's obviously not as accurate with the scope fitted, but it's still not too bad at all. Just a couple of strays with most of the pellets in one relatively tight grouping. Now I haven't actually used the open sights that much, and I reckon if I practice with them a bit more I could really tidy up that group and eliminate those strays. Now I've tested the accuracy, the only thing left to do is to test the power. Now at the point of manufacture, the power of this gun is 22 foot-pounds in 177, 31 foot-pounds in 22, and 34 foot-pounds in 25. Now obviously you're not going to get that power, as the guns for import to the UK have all had the power reduced in order to get them under the legal limit of 12 foot-pounds. However, you can still get a full power FAC version if you hold a valid firearms certificate. So I'm going to set up my chronograph and test the power, and again I'm going to be using those 8.4 grain Air Arms Diablo field pellets. So here I have my chronograph test sheet, and I've already done all of my calculations. So from that test I got an average of 10.75 foot-pounds, so it's got decent power, although I thought it would have been over 11. I'm sure that you could get it up slightly higher with different pellets or a bit of tuning. As it is though, it's still powerful enough for hunting at reasonable distances. There you've seen the Hatsan AT44-10 PCP air rifle. Now, despite the couple of niggles I've had with it, I really like this rifle and highly recommend it, as it's capable of consistently delivering good accuracy and power, which make it a great gun whether you're hunting, target shooting, or just plinking like me. With regard to price, it's relatively affordable in terms of PCP guns, with a retail price of just under £400. Now, I bought this one at the 2014 British Shooting Show, and I paid £419, and that was in a deal that got me the rifle, a 3-9x40 scope, mounts, and a sound suppressor. And at that price it's really a great value gun, as despite the fact it's competing at the lower end of the PCP market, you get a lot for your money, and in my opinion that sets it apart from some of the other cheaper PCP rifles out there, such as the Gamma Coyote and the Webley Raider 10. So thanks for watching, I hope you found the video useful. If so, be sure to check out my other videos and subscribe to the Air Armoury channel. Until next time, keep your arms in the air.